Wednesday, February the 17th, 2016, Sanford Historic Preservation Board meeting. Let's go ahead and make a roll call, please. Christine?
Hank Dieckhaus.
Here.
Cheryl Deming.
Here.
Anna Yaba.
Present.
Ian Carfagna.
I'm here.
Tammy Anini.
Here.
Let's go ahead and review the minutes from the previous meeting, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can we have a motion?
I'll second.
Yeah, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes pass. I'd like to let everyone know tonight that applicants are advised that if for any reason they are not satisfied with the outcome of tonight's meeting, they may file an appeal with the City Commission. Staff can help with that process. Also, a building permit may be required for any certificate of appropriateness approved this evening. It's the applicant's responsibility to inquire with the building department as to whether or not a building permit is required for the approved certificate of appropriateness. Okay, so we're gonna swap the agenda a little bit here. The second PM one on your list, we're gonna move to the top. So,
PM2?
well, if you look at your revised, it's the second PM one.
It's the first PM.
So here.
There's two items.
Yeah, there's-
One is a public meeting item, one is a public hearing item.
Okay.
So we're gonna
Jump
We're
the
gonna
house.
we're gonna move it up here. So, public meeting to consider a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 1,414 square foot one-story house and a 575 square foot two-car garage at 214 South Elm. Staff, can you read the background, please?
The project is located at 214 South Elm Avenue in the Residential Historic District. The applicant has requested approval to construct a 1,414 square foot one-story house and a 575 square foot two-car garage. The proposed design features hardy plank lap siding and architectural shingles. And a list of exterior building materials will be provided to the board. I do not have that with me, so I'm going to have the applicant go through it when he comes up here. In regards to what was provided and Schedule S, staff's comments are the building will be situated on the lot to comply with the required setbacks. The scale of the proposed building is consistent with other buildings in the historic district. The proposed design features a raised foundation. The proposed design does not exceed 35 feet in height. The proposed building features are compatible with the neighborhood and immediate environment. Fiber cement siding is the proposed wall surface. Synthetic materials have not been proposed for trim details or architectural elements. The proposed board trim does not exceed 6 inches. And it is recommended that the permit documents reflect the installation of windows with mullion profiles similar to contributing structures. The proposed window heights comply to Schedule S standards. And that's it. Staff is recommending the HPB approve the request for a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of a 1,414 square foot one-story house and a 575 square foot two-car garage at 214 South Elm Avenue based on a finding that the proposed alterations are consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S. Specifically, the designs are similar in proportion, scale, and are in character with neighborhood and surrounding properties and will not adversely impact the historic district. And just the additional comments are, I did not have all the details for doors and windows and other finishes like columns and all of that. So as we have done in the past, sometimes as they're going through the process, they could do a revision to the building permit. And if anything needs to be brought back to HPB, we could do so at that time. So it allows them to start construction, but also gives an opportunity for further review by the board.
Okay, is the applicant or a representative here? Come on up. Good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Tom Abbott. Address is 481 Autumn Oaks Place, Lake Mary, Florida.
And Leon Konechny, 481 Autumn Oaks Place, Lake Mary, Florida.
Is there anything you want to just add to that description?
No. Some of the windows, I have Schedule S memorized, but we don't have a window picked yet,
Okay.
A manufacturer picked yet. The blueprints are being done as we speak. And so as soon as we get the blueprints, and then we'll start meeting with contractors, and, so if we need to come back for, if you need to know, exactly what window, the manufacturer, we could come back at that time, or...
I think our goal is to build a house that when you walk past it someday, you'll say, wow, that's a well-kept house for, 1907 house, and then when you open it up, there's actually closets and bathrooms and stuff like that.
It's not like my house. Right.
I got a question for staff, clarification. On the windows, new construction, I was under the impression that vinyl windows were permitted.
They are, but Schedule S does not allow for like the snap-in grills. They have to have true mullion profiles, and so that's what that reference was to.
Okay, but
So they can do, vinyl or clad windows if they choose, but they can't be the snap-in grills.
Right.
They have to actually replicate a profile,
Okay.
historic profile.
And also, I see here, you're allowed to use synthetic materials for your trim details on the outside. My house is also brand new, 2003, looks old, and we made the critical mistake of using the hardy board, but we went with wood trim. I spent all my time replacing that. It's your personal
Thanks.
choice,
Thanks for the advice.
but and trim is critical. That gives moisture a lot. It's your option. Looks good. They should have this up by June, right?
Would be nice.
It's only 1,400 square feet. I mean, come
It's
on.
not a big house. It's not
Somebody in permitting?
And just to clarify for the board, what Hank was referencing is Schedule S on page S29 for new construction does allow synthetic materials for trim details and architectural elements. It's just that the applicant has not provided the proposal for those yet, so I can't tell you what they are.
Right.
If they're aluminum or hardy board or what have you, because that has not been provided yet.
Yeah,
And
they
that
have-
is,
when our house was being built, there was a limited selection of trim in the hardy board materials, but they
I think there's
think
more
there's a
available
lot,
now.
yeah.
And the house will be the hardy plank
Yeah.
siding, and the gables hardy also makes a shake.
shake.
And so the gables will be the hardy
Nice.
shake.
And there's different profiles on the plank. What you get at Lowe's is very plain and dull. If you order, they can bring it in from Jacksonville, and you get a nice variety, some more historic planking. I'm going to take a look at that. It's not that much more expensive, maybe 5%.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope. I would like to move to approve the request for the certificate of appropriateness for the construction of a 1,414 square foot one-story house and a 575 square foot two-car garage at 214 South Elm Avenue, based on the finding that the proposed alterations are consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and does comply with the specific design guidelines contained within Schedule S as outlined in the above staff report.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing it.
And thank you for moving this up.
Oh,
We have our
and part of-
Citizens Academy.
Of
tonight.
course. I
And
understand.
part of this is you do have to invite us to your housewarming party.
Sure. Housewarming party.
We'll be there.
Amend your motion.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on then to PH1, request to obtain approval for certificate of appropriateness to demolish a shed at 111 West 12th Street at 1215 South Palmetto Avenue has been received. Staff, to read the background, please.
do you have 1215? 111 West 12.
111?
Yeah, it says 111 West 12th Street. I think that's and 1215 South Palmetto.
Oh, in your staff report.
Yeah. at the very beginning synopsis. I think
Sorry,
it's,
you all. I should have deleted that out of the line.
Okay. So is it just 111 West?
Yes.
West South?
Actually, if I don't see the applicant here, so if we can push this back on the agenda, I don't know if they're running late or if they're planning not
Okay,
to
we'll
attend.
move it to the end. We'll move it to
Yes,
the end, that's fine.
please.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Not a problem. All right, then let's move on to PM2. A request to obtain approval to install a weather vane on the roof at 904 South Park Avenue. Go ahead and read the background, please. Staff.
The project is located at 904 South Park Avenue in the Residential Historic District. The applicant has requested approval to install a cast iron weather vane on the top of a repaired chimney cap. The chimney is non-operational. The weather vane is painted gold and measures 24 inches high with the arrow at 18 inches long. Schedule S does not detail requirements for weather vanes. Schedule S states that architectural features that give the roof its character, such as dormers, cornices, towers, decorative brackets, eaves, chimneys, parapets, and exposed rafter ends shall be retained or replicated and not concealed. Staff's comments are the proposed weather vane will not conceal the chimney or other architectural details. And the HPB must determine if it is appropriate to approve installation of a weather vane on the roof at 904 Park Avenue. If the board approves the request, it shall be based on a determination that the alteration is consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and will not adversely impact the historic district.
Okay. Is the applicant or representative here?
Hi, my name is John Scales. I live at 900 Crooked Oak Court in Longwood, Florida.
Anything you'd like to add to that description?
As you can see by the picture there, there's 2 chimneys on the house. And that chimney, I guess it had an oil heater or a gas heater inside the house, but now it doesn't even have an opening inside the house. And originally I'd asked if I could just tear the chimney down, and Ms. Dalton said absolutely not. So it has a metal cap on it with a round stack, and it's kind of rusted. The stack is in bad condition. And I saw this weather vane at a garage sale, and I thought that if I could remove the stack and put this weather vane on it, that it would enhance the appearance of the house. And I especially like the idea that it has a sailboat on it and a Native American arrow for Lake Monroe and the Fighting Seminoles of Seminole High School, where I used to coach lacrosse.
So you would be taking off that metal stack that's going up?
I would take the stack is connected to a square cap that's on the chimney. What I wanted to do was take the stack off of the cap, put a plate across the top, and attach this to the middle of the plate.
Okay.
The cap will stay on.
The cap will stay on.
Yeah, but the extension
Right,
won't.
right, the pipe.
Yeah, the cap is a metal cap. It's rusty, but I have a sandblaster. I'll sandblast it and repaint it if it looks like it will take a sandblasting.
Maybe just put some rust neutralizer on it.
That might be what I end up doing.
Good enough.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's not part of the,
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the request for C of A to install a weather vane on the roof at 904 South Park Avenue based on the finding that the proposed alterations are consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and complies with the specific design guidelines contained within Schedule S as outlined in the above staff report.
all right, well, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I do. I don't feel like anybody's had an opportunity to ask any questions before the motion, so this is just my curiosity. Are there weather vanes in the neighborhood?
Yes.
There are other weather vanes in the neighborhood similar? Are these, I believe that staff's instruction was to determine whether this approval would constitute a adherence to the
Purpose and
purpose and intent. No, well, not just the purpose and intent of Schedule S, but that it fits within the style guidelines of the area. So I just want to be clear that that's what we're saying. We're saying that we're stating that this weather vane would be consistent with other weather vanes or the style of the neighborhood, and it wouldn't adversely affect.
I don't see that in staff's recommendation.
It was.
I have one.
It was. Can you repeat what your instructions were, please?
Yes. The Historic Preservation Board must determine if it is appropriate to approve installation of a weather vane on the roof at 904 South Park Avenue. If the board approves the request, it shall be based on a determination that the alteration is consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and will not adversely impact the historic district.
So I just want to.
That's the motion.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it's not going to. That's why I'm asking. I haven't really noticed. I haven't really been weather vane looking, so I don't know. I mean, there are. Okay.
Well, it might not be in style anymore, but
Well,
I think when the house was probably originally built, there was probably weather vanes around.
right. So no other discussion, any questions? Okay, well then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's move on to, I guess we're moving back that, right,
To the end.
to the end. I mean, they haven't, so you just want to move forward with it? Okay, we'll go back to PH1. A request to obtain approval for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish a shed at 111 West 12th Street.
Are they here?
Has been received. No, they're not here, so.
Wait till
But
the
we
end.
were just going to wait to the end to see, but they're not here, so we have to.
We're
Oh,
not
we
at
have
the
one
end
more.
yet.
We have one
At
more.
the end.
We didn't do 3?
No.
It's my mistake, sorry. Okay, so a request to consider a modification to a previously approved certificate of appropriateness for a projecting sign at 201 South Magnolia. All right, staff, going to read the background on that one?
The project
Yes.
is located at 201 South Magnolia Avenue in the downtown commercial historic district. The building was constructed in 1924 as the Mullane Theater and was later renamed the Ritz Theater. An iconic feature of the building from the 1930s through the 1970s was a projecting neon sign that was mounted to the northwest corner of the building. On October 13, 2013, the applicant received approval with condition to install a replica of the sign based on historic photographs. The proposal included changing the word theater to WDPAC to recognize the building's new name, the Wayne Dench Performing Arts Center. The condition noted on the approval was, drawings submitted to obtain a building permit for installation of the projecting hanging sign must reflect an exact replica of the original sign. Staff may sign off on the approval for these drawings if they reflect an exact replica of the design, thereby eliminating the need for the applicant to return to the board for additional review. In late January 2016, staff received a building permit application for the projecting hanging sign. Their permit drawings did not reflect an exact replica of the sign, and staff was therefore unable to approve the permit. The sign company and the applicant have since modified the permit drawing, but not sufficiently enough to constitute an exact replica. The city nor the applicant have scale drawings of the original sign. The design for the new sign has been based on the only photographs known to exist which are of poor quality, as shown in figures 1 and 2. The applicant is requesting approval of the permit drawing based on the items that are unclear in the original photos. I'm just going to go ahead and put this up here for you all.
So is the applicant or representative here?
And staff's additional comments to the staff report is the Ritz Theater has an unveiling on the 19th, on Friday, and you all are invited to attend. They needed to get the sign up for the unveiling. This has been something that's been advertised and scheduled for months. So what we did was we had the Steve Nelson, representative for the theater, sign an estoppel letter to Mr. Bonaparte, which states that if the board does require any changes, that they understand that they have to do so, and that they will do so with no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and pass that out to you all. And then I will, actually, Mary's going to pass that out to you all. While Mary's passing that out, I'm just going to point out some differences in the photographs here and the permit drawings.
Thanks.
In your packet, you have the permit drawing. It's the last page in your packet. If you could just take that and compare it to figures 1 and figures 2 that are also in your packet. I will point out the differences. The first difference that I noted, but again, it is very unclear in the photograph what exactly is going on here, is this detail feature, and I don't know if that's a scallop or a shell or what it is up there, but it was very unclear. So if you look at their permit drawings, instead of trying to interpret that, all they did was kind of a stylized bump out at the top. So that's the first difference. The second difference is the Ritz letters are different. The font of the letters is different. You can see here the letters are a bit wider in the original. The Z actually is clipped in the corner here. So they differ a little bit from the permit drawings. Do you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing is the scale of the sign and the scaling of the lettering. But again, this was a difficult one to do because we don't have scale drawings. But it does appear from the permit drawing that the sign in the permit drawing is just a little bit skinnier. The letters are a little bit thinner than what was on the original. So those were the three differences. All else appears very much like the original photo. But because staff's the board's approval was that staff would have to return any differences, is why we're here right now.
Okay. Building looks great, by the way. It's beautiful. Are the awnings new too? Yeah. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Everything is.
It looks really good.
So my first question is just is this the closest you could come to the lettering, or is
Correct. It was very difficult for the graphics artist to determine, to keep the scale and exactly even what font it was. So
Right.
she gave it her best shot. Did you want me to identify myself? And
Please, yeah.
Steve Nelson, 3411 Don Court, Lake Mary, Florida.
Wait, you don't live in Sanford. What are you doing in Lake Mary?
My wife thinks I do. Trust me, Anna.
This is actually a photograph of the sign in the shop.
Is it already working? Have you tried it?
Well, we obviously fired it
Right.
up in the shop, and
Yeah.
as we speak, our tech guy is hooking
Yeah.
up the electricity.
Okay.
Do you have the picture of the final version?
The final photograph,
No, the one that says theater at the bottom.
Right, because it says theater, right? The sign
yeah,
says
we
theater.
changed-
Yeah.
yeah, they have it in their packet. They have the
Yeah.
printed
Right.
copy.
Yeah, we have it
Okay.
right here.
Looks great.
Well,
Marquee looks great.
I move to approve the request to modify previously approved certificate of appropriateness for the projecting sign at 201 South Magnolia Avenue.
I'll second
It's
that.
consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and complies with the design guidelines of Schedule S.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very
Put it
much.
up.
Thank you.
Everyone Friday.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
LPH.
PH1.
Yeah, I don't see the applicant here, but you all can go ahead and proceed and consider the item. If there are any questions that can't be answered, then we will just have to have the applicant return.
Okay.
Okay.
So our request is to obtain approval for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish a shed at 111 West 12th Street. Has been received. Background, please, staff.
The project is located at 111 West 12th Street in the Old Sanford Residential Historic District. The Seminole County Property Appraiser website lists the year of construction for the home as 1925. No date of construction is listed for the shed, and it does not appear on the Sanborn Fire Insurance map. The shed is constructed of a wood frame clad in metal with plastic roofing material. Staff has determined that the shed is not historic, architecturally, or environmentally significant. The shed does not add aesthetic interest to the historic district, and it is not a historic landmark. The year of construction is unknown. And I have provided in the staff report the demolition section from Schedule S. It does not differentiate between sheds and buildings at all, so anything that is a full demolition does require a public hearing and advertising, and also for you all to consider the demolition section, so I've included it in there. Staff is recommending the HPB grant approval to demolish the shed at 111 West 12th Street based on the finding that the proposed alterations are consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S and complies with the design guidelines in Schedule S. Specifically, the shed is not historic, is of poor construction, unknown time period, and does not contribute to the overall aesthetic of the historic district. Staff is also recommending approval for waiver of the waiting period.
I move to approve the request to demolish the shed at 111 West 12th Street based on the finding that the proposed scope of work is consistent with the purpose and intent of Schedule S, complies with the design guidelines, and to waiver the waiting period.
You have a motion? You have a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That brings us to minor reviews and 6-month reviews. Any minor reviews first?
Christine, I have a question. Did we have a C of A for 706 Palmetto for a porch?
What's happening there?
The porch was redone. It was ripped out and replaced. I didn't see anything posted, and I took a picture, and I called it into Daryl, left him a voicemail. It was on a Friday afternoon, and I never heard back. I might not have left my my phone number as a return, but I didn't see anything in the packet. There was nothing posted.
So you don't see anything in your minor reviews? Mm-mm. How recent was the work?
It was last Friday, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Last week.
I haven't
You
had
see
a
it
C of
there?
A for that one.
A week ago Friday.
Yeah, I don't have a C of A for that one.
Palmetto.
Yeah, he was like waist deep.
Oh.
It was ripped out. I got a picture.
Okay.
Cheryl told me to take a picture.
Okay, I'll follow it with code enforcement.
I don't see any minor reviews.
I guess just the 6 months.
Yeah, these are the minor reviews.
These are? These.
You see?
Hmm?
You see 706.
I'm looking. No, I'm looking at. I don't. I have a question, Christine. The house that was the Home Path house on 9th and in between Elm and. They have a COA for the roof?
They just got it today. They
Okay.
just got their roofing permit today.
All right. Just want to make sure. Just drove by it today and I didn't see it posted, so.
And
On that one, I actually just signed off on the building permit because they were ready to go, and I had several people waiting. So,
Okay.
in lieu of the C of A, you'll see the building permit posted. But they
I
were
saw the
going
building
to-
permit posted, so.
Yeah, from shingles to architectural shingles.
Okay. And replacing any of the plywood on the roof, right?
If there is any wood repair that needs to happen, that's in a visible area like rafter tails or all, they have to get a C of A.
Well, I just saw they were just loading plywood and shingles, so it looks like they're just doing the sub
Yeah,
roof.
and that's
then-
fine.
Okay.
Was there a permit pulled for a new roof on the 5th block of Oak? They put one in 2 weeks ago. It's a 2-story house next to the one that was auctioned off right on the corner of 6th and Oak. It's a white house just to the north of it. They put a new roof on 2 weeks ago.
I'll have to look that one up.
And also, did the people ever come back? Have you heard from the ones that,
California?
yeah, 807 Magnolia?
Those plans are on my desk for review for building permit.
Oh, so they're going to build.
Is that the double lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm signing off on them probably tonight, and they'll have them routed around to.
Is
the
it one
different
house on
lots
2
as well.
lots, that one?
Well, it was 2 lots, but
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, one
but
house.
they're going to put one
One
house
house.
on
Right.
those 2 lots.
Actually, they're leaving one lot empty. They're not having the house span 2 lots. They're building the house on one lot, and then they're leaving the other as empty as their yard.
Oh, okay, I got you.
The inside lot.
Okay.
What else? The city came before us a couple of years ago for approval on some railing. They were for Centennial Park, the gazebo. They were changing it out to metal railing. Whatever happened to that?
That project was put on hold for funding, but it's actually back on.
Okay.
Because I spoke to the project manager probably not even 3 weeks ago, maybe.
If you could maybe mention something to the project manager that if there is not nighttime lighting in that gazebo, there needs to be, because it's pitch black at night.
They have it, it's just not working.
Oh,
And they're not renting that out anymore because they've said it's unsafe to have any kind of events there or anything.
Why put
Did
the
you get,
railing on it?
there was a notice,
Yeah.
to fix the whole thing.
Well, they had it taped off,
it's on,
police tape, but that's down now, and there's people on it, so I don't know what.
yeah, because Nelson was going to try to rent it out for the Historic Trust picnic, and they said you can't do it because it's in such bad shape. So I guess I know it's on the docket to get fixed, but
Well, I can't imagine
Who knows
them
when.
putting up a railing with a
Yeah, without
deteriorating
fixing it,
gazebo.
yeah.
They have to do more
Doesn't
than the
make any sense.
Maybe
railing.
more than
Yeah.
just a railing, yeah. You would think.
No, they're redoing.
The whole gazebo.
Project is more than just
Oh,
railing,
okay.
right?
Right.
Yeah, but the repair of it, I could sign off in the house. It was
That's
the
true.
railing had to come to you all because it was a change. I couldn't sign off,
okay.
but they're redoing the whole gazebo.
Good.
And then as far as reviews, what's the status of the awning at the Bishop Building?
They were there today working on it.
Apparently, drawings have been done that I have not seen yet. I had a contractor come and talk to me today about the project, and he had drawings that I haven't seen yet. So the owner is getting bids from different contractors. So there are drawings out there, but they have not been formally submitted to the city as far as I'm not in receipt of them. So if they were submitted to building or code enforcement, they just haven't forwarded them to me yet.
Can you check and see if their 6 months is up from the violation on that, so that code enforcement can move forward? Maybe that will speed up the repairs.
And also, I don't know if this is the right time for me to, but I would like to, earlier we were talking about the outside seating areas in restaurants, and I would love code enforcement to do something about, those plastic chains, and that looks horrible.
Where's that at?
It's at the Greek restaurant.
You don't like those blue
No,
plastic tubs?
they're awful, and so if they're against the code, they need to be cited.
Are you all done with minor reviews
Yes,
and
we're done.
6-month
Sorry.
reviews?
We're done.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now we are
We can
in the
move to
code
code
enforcement
enforcement. Yes,
section?
please.
Sorry.
That's fine. We'll move on.
You have the code enforcement report there?
In a minute.
I do now, yes, I do. It's all time.
Because we'd spend all our time looking at it.
And yes, Anna, I'm adding that to
Okay.
the list. I just wanted to make sure it's in the right section.
Great.
And,
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to bring up the discussion again about stop work orders.
We could-
And you've got that paperwork, but I really feel that, I know the city's trying to work with people, but people are taking advantage, and they're continuing to do the work. And unless the building department and code enforcement is going to go by these projects every day and check, I can remember stop work meant stop work. We weren't allowed on the property. So,
Is that something that the board wants to pursue collectively as a board with the request to a department?
well, my concern is we've already dealt with this a couple of months ago when a stop work order really doesn't mean anything. People tear it off, then a second one goes up, and I mean, there's a house right now on Magnolia that there's probably 5 workers there 7 days a week working, and they got a stop work order. Now, I'm sure they're doing things that they don't require permit, but I'm assuming probably with that many people and that much work, there's probably work being done that they need a permit.
Is that it?
Yeah, I would like to, well, I mean, as me personally, I would like to pursue discussion with the city about what our options are, what their options are, what their procedures are. I mean, what can we do? Because to echo her sentiment, I think that it's becoming a problem. It's more than just a one-time occurrence. It's a multiple occurrence from multiple different people. So, what can we do? So.
I did talk to the building official about this, and basically, I was told that we are not a municipality that has police escort off of job site when a stop work order is posted. So, in the absence of doing that, there's not really anything that limits people from continuing to work.
Okay. Well.
The site is posted, and they're supposed to stop work.
Well.
But I did send out an email to my listserv statewide to find out what they're doing in other communities to combat this problem, so I'm going to hand that out to you. I got feedback from different cities: Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Fernandina Beach, Lake Worth, St. Augustine, and Kissimmee have responded. And I'm going to send another email out to see if I could get some responses from another municipalities. But it seems like everybody approaches it a little differently. So maybe if building department has this from other cities that they could look at, I don't know.
Well, isn't it where city council will have to create an ordinance for that? If we don't have any ability, the building department doesn't have any ability to have a police escort. It has to be a city ordinance, or it has to have the commissioners have to adopt some type of ordinance that will allow the use of that department in removing somebody from a property. I would assume, right?
Correct, but I think the appropriate channels would be to get the support of building department first, since it's their kind of realm.
Okay.
So.
They don't get fined or anything when they take off and keep working? They don't get fined or anything?
No. Well,
It's an honor system.
yeah, well, that's not working. I'm just concerned, why don't we start first with stop work?
Agreed.
And if we have teeth in that, then maybe we don't have to worry about hauling them off the property with the police.
Who's going to enforce the stop work, though? That's what we're discussing, is who's going to enforce that.
Well,
right now, there is no measure in place to enforce it.
Because they know the building department goes and inspects, puts a stop work order and says, well, you can continue working, you just can't do this that we stopped you for.
I understand, and again, I'm with you. I'm completely there with you. But we're at a point where Christine has said that there is no way to enforce that currently. So we need to move forward as a board to discuss with first the building department as to what can be done. How can we move towards creating some type of enforcement of a stop work?
Well, I think what Christine did is a good start by getting
Yep.
input from other cities.
Agreed.
And then
Agreed.
pick the best one or whatever best parts of each, and present that to the commissioners.
Maybe the city commission needs to, take a
They do
vote
need it.
Right.
and,
Yeah.
Like
and
Ian
start
said,
finding
they're the
those
ones.
people.
Well,
Right, but-
like right here for Lake Worth, the code enforcement officer can write an actual ticket citation for $50 up to $500 for repeat violations.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right, again,
But we can't-
I agree with Christine, is we obviously want to go the route of involving building department first, it's their
Oh,
route.
definitely,
So
yeah.
once we work together with building department and have that face-to-face with them, then I think it may be a joint effort to where the city commission will have to adopt some form of ordinance to give the power or the ability for someone to create some type of enforcement, whether it be the fine or not. I mean, you notice that reading it's in the municipal code for Lake Worth.
Right.
The city commission would have to
Have
create
code,
that and
yeah.
adopt that into the, so we start with the building department, express our concerns, hear their feedback. From that, I think we can move to the city commission if that's what's required, if that's the steps, and try to get that done. But have a unified front between us and the building department, I think is going to go a lot
Definitely.
longer.
Yeah.
Christine, you spoke to the building department? Yeah, have you spoken to our building department?
Yes.
Yes? Do they see it as a problem, or is it just us? I mean, is it citywide problem, or is it because
I didn't
we're...
ask that question. I just kind of said it was a problem that we're seeing in the district and that some board members were,
But nobody said, oh, yeah, you're right, they violate that all the time.
No, I didn't get any kind of sentiment or they felt it was a problem.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I just didn't get
Yeah.
that from the
vibe.
conversation.
Okay.
Well, that's part of the problem.
So is our next step to request the building department to come before us next meeting?
I
Or
would
what do we
say
do?
a good next step would be to request the city attorney to look into
Drawing something.
an expanded of what I've looked into
Okay.
and maybe present the board with different options that can be, worked through with building.
Okay.
In the research, if you're asking the city attorney to do that, he's probably going to be communicating with the building department as part of that. So that might be a request for options of what could legally be done. And then I could talk to Lonnie about it.
Okay. Then I would like to, on behalf of the board, to officially request the city attorney look into what legal options there are in enforcement of stop work, and then to possibly present those options at our next meeting.
Okay. Any questions on the code enforcement reports list?
So what does it mean when, on these papers, it says demolition by neglect? Tell me what that means.
So Schedule S has a section dealing with demolition by neglect, and what that is it is a tactic that some property owners use of neglecting their buildings. So eventually, the state of the building is so far gone that they can come to the city and ask for a demolition on the basis of it's too far gone to rehab.
Okay.
So to combat that, we'll write up a violation for demolition by neglect that basically puts them on notice that says, we think this is what you're trying to do. And that way, in the future, if they came to the city and asked for demolition, we wouldn't give it. Because if they get a notice for demolition by neglect and they haven't pulled any building permits or made any attempt to do any repairs, and then 2 years pass and then they ask for a demolition, we've already put them on notice that we knew that this is what they were going to do.
Okay.
It's different than just writing something up for lack of maintenance, because if it gets to where, say, it has to go through the civil court, and they see that it was written up for demolition by neglect, and we legally put them on notice that we knew that's what they were trying to achieve, or that we perceived that's what they were trying to achieve, then it makes it very, very difficult for a court to turn around and say, yeah, we're going to override and give you permission to
Okay.
tear down.
Because I see it on 305 South Park.
Your building.
My building. So is this just, it's an ongoing fine with this
Yeah, so back then when it was written up, it just wasn't written up for lack of maintenance.
Okay.
It was, we feel like by neglecting this property to the point you're neglecting it, that eventually that may cause
Right.
you all to come in and ask for a demo, which we're not going to allow.
Okay.
Essentially.
Gotcha.
5 years.
Who's being fined on that property? The bank?
Yes. Whoever the property owner is right now, which I believe it's still Deutsche Bank.
I guess in Germany they're sweating it.
They're going down in flames.
Well, they're just going to go in front of the. They're just going to go probably in front of I don't want. I'm just saying they're going to ask for a waiver on the fine. They're not going to pay it. I don't see that happening. Anyway.
Okay.
Whoever gets that building next will get stuck with it.
Well, but the new owner can get a waiver.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
don't-
we do have a lien amnesty program.
Right, yeah.
So how that works is, it's a program that the city commission has approved, and they look at it on an annual basis, but they've decided to do it through the end of 2016. And if someone purchases, or even if they actually currently own it, a property that has all these liens, if they bring the property into compliance, they can apply to have that reduced, and the maximum is $2,400. So it's either 10% of the lien or $2,400, but it cannot exceed $2,400. So it's a real incentive for people to, especially if they got the property for maybe a reduced rate because of all the liens, to participate in the program. So we've had a lot of properties turn around because of the lien amnesty program.
Right.
What's the minimum 2,400 of the
Maximum, right?
2,400 is the maximum.
Maximum.
that they would pay?
So you could have a six-figure lien, and as long as you bring it into compliance, and that $2,400, where that number comes from, is that represents the attorney's cost and administrative cost to that point,
Code
essentially.
enforcement cost, yeah.
So it's just trying to recoup some of that filing fees and such.
I had a question for you on the different historic districts that you were talking about. You mentioned if it's a conservation area that would apply to new construction, right?
Conservation districts, a lot of times, it's going to regulate heavily the new construction.
What if it's not total new construction, but an investor buys a home and he wants to renovate it? Would that come under the new construction, or could it? Or is it how it's written up?
It's really how the ordinance is designed. It's going to be how you word the ordinance. But I would say an existing building is not new construction. Even if it's a renovation and you're not going the preservation route, it's still not new construction. New construction is freestanding, detached from the ground up.
I don't know. I just thought you don't want to price people out of the district. You know, you come up with rules and regulations, and they can't afford to fix their properties, so you're kind of pricing them out. But if they die and their relatives want to sell the property, it'd be nice if the new owners, investors, were under some stricter guidelines.
It's hard, though, because do you want to get the National Register District and Conservation District, or do you want to get none of it? And in some areas, it's just going to be too hard to
Convince the
Even in my opinion, but even in that scenario, if it's listed as a conservation district, say an investor may want to just say, well, the house is in such disrepair, I'll just demo it and build a new one. It's still new construction, so they're still held to that guideline. So I mean, I don't really see in construction and industry where somebody would look at a house that needs work and do the work in a way that was
schlocky.
Well, no, that would make the house look like it didn't before. I mean, they're pretty much going to, Now there'd be no say over the material they used, which maybe you're implying, but I think that if they're going to redo the house, they're going to redo the house, and if they're going to demo it and put a new one, it's going to be on a conservation guideline. So,
true.
All right, just one more thing. One of the houses I was talking about, stop work order, and they're still working, is on our open case report. They were fined, or they were noticed on January the 27th. Work without a permit. They have notice of violation, and they're supposed to go before the magistrate in April. He'll be finished with the house, and it will be sold by April.
Yeah.
He already has an offer on the house now.
Oh, no. Mason?
1012 South Magnolia
Right across the street
from Alec.
one with all
So-
the
Oh,
former
yeah.
the former jungle.
Yes.
So does the property owner absorb that fine?
New owner?
Well, there's no fine yet.
Well, if the hearing isn't scheduled till April and the house sells before that, then it goes to the person who's buying it.
And is there any requirement under law to disclose that to anybody who has an offer on the house? Do we know about that? I mean, maybe it's a rough question, but
Well, that question came up last time. I don't remember if we ever got an answer because
I mean,
from Mason.
right. I'd be curious if I was buying a house in the historic district and then 2 months later, all of a sudden, I get a notice saying, "Oh, guess what? You're the new owner, so
And
come
that
before
is-
the magistrate."
And that is what the attorney said at our last meeting. It goes to the new owner. Remember?
Mary, do you remember when you were doing code enforcement, when they send the letter out, does that get recorded in the public records?
I don't know with the new magistrate how it's working, but in the past, nothing got recorded until a fine was established. But I know if there's a change of owner prior to the hearing, they have to kind of start over with the new owner. They can't continue with the hearing if it's
The
a
new owner
new
would
owner
be-
that hasn't been
The new
notified.
owner would be then noticed.
Horrible.
That's horrible.
In the
That is
past, we
horrible.
would have to start over,
But that's horrible.
step one process, and go forward.
But there's a stop work order. If they have an offer on the house, they must be aware of that. There's
Not
a,
if they pull it off the wall. If they
Well,
pull it off the wall.
I don't know if they did, but the two that Mason has, they're both like you could see the attempts to remove it, but they're still right there. I mean, and he's had an open house, and it's
He's
right
got
there.
a contract on the one on 10th.
It's not through a realtor, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Both of them
realtors
are.
are supposed to
That's what I was
disclose,
yeah, they both saying.
Huh?
The realtor on this one we're talking about
Maria?
should be told.
No.
Or should know.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I just find that's definitely
Pretty should.
that's
People don't do the right thing.
it's definitely unfortunate for the homeowner if that's
And
if
now
that's
with
what
a
happens.
lot of these flippers coming in,
Flippers are the worst.
that's the problem.
Okay. Well, I think we're at the point of moving to the chairman discussion, but I think we've already migrated into that, so I don't have anything personally to say. Staff, is there anything that you'd like to talk about before we?
No, I mentioned the preservation workshop in Tampa this weekend, but that was about it.
Okay, good.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to officially adjourn today's meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your time.